What would you do if your own brother looked your hard-working teenage son in the eye and sneered, "My kids are sipping espresso in Paris right now, while yours are digging through thrift store bins for school clothes?" Picture this. Last summer, our family barbecue. Smoke curling off the grill, kids running around, laughter everywhere, except at our table. My son Ethan, 17, had just finished a double shift at the warehouse the night before. He's saving for college, never asks for a dime, always shows up with that quiet smile. Derek, my younger brother, struts in wearing designer sunglasses and a Rolex that probably costs more than my car. He pulls out his phone, shoves vacation photos in everyone's faces, and says it loud enough for the whole yard to hear. Santorini was unreal. My twins on a private yacht. Ethan still rocking those second-hand sneakers, huh, Marcus? Ethan's face just fell. He stared at his plate, shoulders hunched, and quietly excused himself to check on something. I felt it hit me like a punch, years of swallowing Derek's superiority complex bubbling up. Everyone always assumed Derek was a golden child. Flashy house, endless trips, trust fund from mom and dad that never seemed to run dry. Me, the steady one, the one who handled hospital bills, sat with dad through chemo, balanced checkbooks, while Derek partied through his 30s. But here's the detail everyone conveniently forgot. When our parents passed, they didn't hand Derek the keys to the kingdom. They named me trustee, full control, oversight on every withdrawal. Derek could spend, sure, but only with my signature. I never threw it in his face. Never needed to. Until that barbecue. Later that night, alone in my office, I logged into the trust portal. What I found made my stomach twist. Those dream vacations, they weren't coming from smart investments or side hustles. And that beach house he loved posting from every summer? Yeah, I had just quietly bought the mortgage. You think that's where the payback starts? Wait until you hear what those late-night emails actually revealed. So there we were, the barbecue still sizzling, kids chasing each other with water guns, and Derek leaning back in his lawn chair like he owned the whole damn yard. He swipes through more photos on his phone, volume cranked so the neighbors could hear. Ibiza last month, private villa, infinity pool overlooking the sea. Cost a fortune, but you only live once. Then he turned straight to Ethan, who's standing there holding a cheap plastic cup of soda, still in his work hoodie, because he came straight from the overnight shift. Derek smirks. Hey, little man, when's the last time you saw a real beach? Not the public one with the broken bottles, right? Ethan forces a laugh that doesn't reach his eyes. Yeah, cool pics, Uncle Derek. Then he mumbles something about helping with the grill and walks away fast. I watched his shoulders slump as he disappeared around the side of the house. 17 years old, pulling 40-hour weeks at night so he can pay for his own textbooks next semester, and his own uncle just publicly reminded him he's less than. I stayed quiet. Always have. Growing up, Derek was a charming one, football star, quick with a joke, girls on his arm. I was the one fixing the car when it broke down, the one who drove Mom to every doctor's appointment after Dad got sick. When the will was read, the lawyer explained it clearly. The trust fund, several million from our parents' investments, wasn't Derek's to blow. It was structured with me as trustee because Derek needs someone with a steady hand to guide him. Their exact words. I never lorded it over him. Never even mentioned it unless he asked for something big. I figured family meant protecting each other, even from themselves. Derek kept going that afternoon, oblivious. Lydia and the twins are already planning Greece next summer. Santorini again, maybe Mykonos. Ethan, you should come. Oh, wait, you probably have asked for the time off from, what is it again? Stocking shelves. He laughed like it was the funniest thing he'd said all year. I smiled, nodded, let him talk. But inside, something shifted. For the first time in years, I wasn't just swallowing the resentment. I was tasting payback. That night, after everyone left, I sat in the dark with my laptop, logged into the trust portal with credentials Derek didn't even know existed, scrolled through the last 3 years of transactions. My jaw tightened with every line. Those yacht trips? Private jets? Designer wardrobes for the twins? None of it was coming from some magic side income Derek always claimed he had. It was coming straight from the principal. Money he wasn't supposed to touch without my approval. Over $180,000 siphoned in sneaky chunks labeled family maintenance and education expenses. Education expenses for kids who were already in private school on another account. He wasn't just bragging. He was stealing from his own children's future, from the shared portion that was supposed to help Ethan too. I closed the laptop slowly, heart pounding. Then I whispered to the empty room, "You've been playing king on borrowed time, little brother." But the real bomb, the one that would actually bring the whole castle down, wasn't the trust statements at all. It was sitting in a folder labeled foreclosure notices. Ever wonder how long someone can keep flexing a lifestyle they can't actually afford before the mask cracks? I stared at those transaction logs until my eyes burned. $187,000. That's the number that kept blinking back at me. Not small oops withdrawals. Deliberate, repeated dips into the principal. Money the trust documents explicitly said could only be touched for education, health emergencies, or with trustee approval. Derek had been treating it like his personal ATM for 3 straight years. Santorini Yacht Week, labeled Family Bonding Retreat. Paris Fashion Week for Lydia, cultural education expense. Private jet to Aspen for New Year's, winter wellness. Each one approved by nobody. He'd forged my digital signature on the portal more than once. Sloppy, arrogant, and completely illegal. I felt sick. Not just angry, physically sick. This wasn't some rival cousin pulling shady moves. This was my brother raiding money meant for his own twins' college, for Ethan's future, for the safety net our parents spent decades building. The same parents who trusted me to stop exactly this kind of reckless behavior. Have you ever caught someone you love lying so big it rewrites every memory you had with them? That's what it felt like. Every Christmas where Derek showed up with extravagant gifts, every time he bragged about making it, every smug, "You should try harder, Marcus," it was all built on stolen money. My silence had let it happen. I pulled up the beach house records next. Oceanfront, 6 bedrooms, infinity pool, the postcard view he loved posting with captions like, "Grateful for the life we built." Turns out the life was built on sand. Mortgage payments had been late for 8 months. Bank notices stacked up in his inbox, unopened, ignored. Foreclosure proceedings had quietly started 2 weeks before the barbecue. Derek wasn't living large. He was one missed payment from losing everything. And he had no idea I knew. I could have called him right then. Could have screamed, threatened, dragged him to the family group chat. But screaming is what Derek expects. It's what he thrives on, turning everything into drama, so he stays the center. No, I wanted him to feel what Ethan felt at that barbecue. Small, powerless, judged. So I stayed quiet a little longer, used my trusty authority to quietly contact the lender. The mortgage was distressed. Bank wanted it off their books fast. I had the liquidity in the trust investment account. One wire transfer later, through a blind LLC I set up years ago for exactly these kind of contingencies. The note was mine. Derek's dream house, now legally tethered to me. One more late payment, and I could call it due, or foreclose, or negotiate. I leaned back in my chair, heart hammering, and whispered to the screen, "You mocked thrift stores, little brother. Let's see how you like shopping for mercy." But the real leverage wasn't the house alone. It was a single email I sent at 2:17 a.m. subject line. "We need to talk about your summer plans." What does real power feel like? Not the loud, flashy kind Derek always chased. The quiet kind. The kind that sits in your inbox while the other person still thinks they're winning. The email went out at 2:17 a.m. subject. "We need to talk about your summer plans." Attachment, one clean PDF. The mortgage assignment notice. My name, not the LLC, my actual name, now listed as a note holder. Official, recorded, irrevocable. I didn't sleep much after hitting send. Just sat there replaying Ethan's face from a barbecue. The way he looked down at his worn sneakers, like they suddenly weighed 1,000 pounds. Then I thought about Derek's twins. Innocent kids who had no idea their college funds were being quietly drained so Dad could keep up appearances. The contradiction burned. He'd built his entire identity on being the provider, the one who made it, while quietly gambling with everyone else's future. By 8 a.m., my phone lit up. Derek's name on the screen. I let it ring twice before answering. Marcus? What the hell is this attachment? Some kind of joke. His voice was still cocky at first. The laugh was there, forced, like he could charm his way out of gravity. I kept my tone flat. Calm. The way you talk when you already know the ending. Not a joke, Derek. Check the date stamp. The bank transferred the note yesterday. I'm the new holder. Silence. Long enough I could hear his breathing change. You bought my mortgage? With what money? With trust liquidity. The same trust you've been treating like your personal line of credit for 3 years. Another pause. Then the shift, the panic creeping in, voice cracking at the edges. Bro, come on. This is family. You can't just... I can, and I did, because family doesn't steal from kids to fund yacht weeks. I heard him swallow. Hard. Look, I've had some cash flow issues. Lydia's been spending the twins' school fees. Don't. I cut in. Don't blame Lydia. Don't blame the market. You signed off on every withdrawal. You forged my name. You posted every photo like you earned it. He tried to pivot. Classic Derek. Okay. Let's talk numbers. How much to make this go away? I almost laughed. Almost. It's not about payoff right now. It's about consequences. One more late payment, and I can call the entire note due, or start foreclosure. Your choice. His breathing got ragged. You'd really do that? To your own brother? To my kids? The hypocrisy hit like a slap. The same man who'd mocked my son for wearing second-hand clothes was now begging me not to take his beach house away from his children. I leaned into the phone. You mocked Ethan for working nights. Called his life small. You want to talk about what's fair for kids? Start with the money you already took from them. He went quiet again. Then small voice. What do you want, Marcus? I let the question hang. Let him feel the weight. I want you to show up tomorrow at noon. My office, alone, will discuss repayment, trust restructuring, and a new allowance, modest, supervised, or we go the legal route. Full audit, forgery charges, foreclosure filing by end of week. He laughed once, nervous, broken. You're serious. Dead serious. I could picture him sitting in that big, empty living room, staring at the ocean view he thought was permanent. Tomorrow at noon, I repeated. Don't be late. I hung up before he could argue. The line went dead. My hands were shaking, not from anger anymore, from the strange, cold satisfaction of finally holding the cards. But the real moment, the one that would break him completely, was still coming. It was waiting in the folder I prepared for that noon meeting. What happens when the king finally realizes the throne was never his? Noon the next day. My small home office. Blinds half closed. Sunlight cutting sharp lines across the desk. I printed everything. The trust withdrawal audit, highlighted in red. The mortgage assignment docs. Bank statements showing the forged approvals. Even screenshot his own Instagram post timed right next to the unauthorized transfers. A neat stack. Evidence, not emotion. Derek arrived 12 minutes late. I heard the front door open. Hesitant footsteps. Then he appeared in the doorway. Hair messy. Eyes bloodshot. No sunglasses this time. No Rolex. Just a man who looked smaller than he had in years. He didn't sit. Just stood there clutching his phone like a lifeline. Marcus, this can't be real. I gestured to the chair. He dropped into it. I slid the stack across the desk. It's real. Read. He flipped pages with shaking hands. The color drained from his face page by page. When he hit the forgery highlights, my name signed in his handwriting, his breath caught. I was going to pay it back. I swear. 3 years are going to pay it back. While you posted yacht selfies and called my son poor. That's not intent. That's theft. He looked up, eyes glassy. You're going to ruin me. Lydia will leave. The twins. Don't. My voice stayed level. You ruined yourself the moment you decided flexing was more important than family. Silence stretched. Thick. Heavy. Then the begging started. Quiet at first. I'll sell the cars. I'll get a job. Just don't take the house. The kids love it there. They think it's ours forever. The irony almost made me laugh. Forever. The same word he'd used to mock Ethan's thrift store clothes. I leaned forward. Here's the deal. One time only. He nodded fast. Desperate. Full repayment schedule. Every dollar you took, principal plus interest, returned to the trust over 5 years. No more unsupervised access. Monthly allowance reinstated, but modest. $5,000 a month, max. Every withdrawal needs my approval in writing. The beach house stays in your name, for now, but the note remains with me. 1 late mortgage payment, 1 missed trust repayment, and I call it due. Foreclosure starts the next day. His mouth open, closed. That's basically probation. Exactly, because you've proven you can't be trusted with freedom. He stared at the papers, then at me. Something flickered in his eyes. Shame, maybe, or just the shock of consequences finally landing. Why didn't you stop me sooner? He whispered. Because I thought family meant giving you room to grow up. I was wrong. He swallowed, nodded once. I'll sign whatever you need. Good. Lawyers coming at one to notarize the agreement. He stood slowly, like the weight had physically settled on his shoulders. At the door he paused. Does Ethan know? Not yet, but he will. And when he does, he'll see what real strength looks like. Not private jets, not beach houses. Showing up, working nights, protecting what matters. Derek looked down at the floor. No comeback, no smirk. Just a broken man, walking out into the daylight. I watched him go. Then I picked up my phone and texted Ethan one line. Come home after your shift. We need to talk about Uncle Derek. But the conversation that happened when Ethan walked through that door, that was the moment everything really changed. Ever wonder what true family justice looks like when the bragging finally stops? Ethan came home around 7 p.m., still in his warehouse uniform, grease smudged on his sleeve, eyes tired but bright when he saw me waiting at the kitchen table with 2 sodas and a folder. Dad, you okay? Text sounded serious. I motioned for him to sit. Sit. This is about Uncle Derek. He froze halfway to the chair. What did he do now? I opened the folder slowly. Let him see the highlights first. The withdrawals, the forgeries, the mortgage transfer. His eyes widened with every page. He took money from the trust? From our college fund. More than you could imagine. While he was posting those vacation pics and making fun of your sneakers. Ethan's jaw tightened. He stared at the numbers like they personally insulted him. Then he looked up at me. You bought his house? The beach one. I nodded. Through the trust. It's leverage now. He signed an agreement today. Repayment plan. Supervised allowance. No more unsupervised spending. 1 slip and the house goes. Ethan exhaled long and slow. So he's not rich anymore? He never really was. He was pretending. On borrowed money. On our future. Silence settled between us. Not heavy. Not angry. Just clear. Then Ethan spoke, voice quiet but steady. All those times he laughed at me working nights. He was the one scared of losing everything. I reached across the table, squeezed his shoulder. You showed up every shift. Never complained. Never flexed. That's what real wins look like. He gave a small, crooked smile, the first real one since the barbecue. Does this mean I get to go to college without loans? More than that, the trust is restructured now. Your portion is locked, growing protected. His kids too. No one gets hurt because of his ego anymore. Ethan leaned back, processing. Then he asked the question I've been waiting for. What did Uncle Derek say when you told him? I smiled just a little. He didn't say much. But his face? It fell, just like yours did that day at the barbecue. Except it didn't come back up. We sat there a minute longer. Sodas sweating on the table. The house quiet except for the fridge humming. Family isn't about who has the biggest house or the flashiest trips. It's about who protects the people in it. Even when protecting means holding the line against the ones who'd burn it down for likes. Derek learned that the hard way. Ethan learned he never had to. And me? I learned that sometimes the strongest revenge isn't loud. It's quiet. It's final. It's just, if you've ever had to deal with family who thought money made them better than you, drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. Hit like if quiet justice hits different for you. Subscribe if you want more real stories where the underdog doesn't just survive, they reset the board. And turn on notifications, because next week I'm dropping the one thing Derek said when he realized I owned everything he bragged about. See you then.